My job today is to present you with 15 movies that will show you the dark realities that come with using drugs. These movies will not glamorize the life of drug dealing, but will just focus on the drug use and what comes with it. So, if you guys enjoy this video, definitely hit that like button. And if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. With that being said, let's get right into it. Number 15. Climax. When members of a dance team are lured into an empty school, drug-laced sangria causes their jubilant rehearsal to descend into a dark and explosive nightmare as they try to survive the night and find out who's responsible before it's too late. Number 14. Kids. Amoral teen Telly has made it his goal to sleep with as many virgin girls as possible, but he doesn't tell them that he is HIV positive. While on the hunt for his last conquest, Telly and his friend Casper smoke pot and steal from stores around New York. Meanwhile, Jenny, one of Telly's early victims, made it her mission to save other girls from him. But before she has the chance to confront him at a party, everything goes horribly wrong. Number 13. Half Nelson. Dan Dunn is a history teacher at a Brooklyn high school. Though well liked by his students and colleagues, he secretly spends his evenings hopping bars and getting high. A female student named DeRay catches him in a drug-induced haze after a basketball game, and the two strike up an unlikely friendship. As Dan struggles with his addiction, he tries to act like a mentor to the girl, whose brother is serving time for drug dealing. Number 12. Enter the Void. This psychedelic tour of the life after death is seen entirely from the point of view of Oscar, a young American drug dealer and addict living in Tokyo with his prostitute sister Linda. When Oscar is killed by the police during a bust gone bad, his spirit journeys from the past, where he sees his parents before their deaths, to the present, where he witnesses his own autopsy, and then to the future, where he looks out for his sister from beyond the grave. Number 11. Spun. Comical tale focusing on the anarchic adventures of a college dropout named Ross, who has an unhealthy appetite for illegal drugs, particularly amphetamine, sulfate, or speed. Having met a heavyweight dealer and a drug manufacturer, Ross agrees to become his driver, a job that leads him into a series of manic and increasingly bizarre situations that distract him from his personal quest to find his irate girlfriend. Number 10. Another Day in Paradise. In the 1970s, teen Bobby supports his drug habit and his girlfriend Rosie with petty crime. When one such job gets ugly, Bob looks to seasoned local crook Mel for guidance. Mel, a junkie himself, takes a shine to him, and Bobby, Rosie, Mel, and his lover Sid pulling heists together. But thanks to a bit of success and abundance of narcotics, they get into debt and mixed up in murder. Number 9. Drugstore Cowboy. Bob Hughes is the leader of a family of drug addicts who consist of his wife, Diane, and another couple who feed their habits by robbing drugstores as they travel across the country. After a tragedy befalls on a member of the group, Bob decides he must leave the dysfunctional clan and go straight. Parting ways with the junkie past proves more difficult than he expects when Bob is stalked by one of his old acquaintances looking to score drugs at any price. Number 8. A Scanner Darkly. In the near future, as America virtually loses the war on drugs, Robert Arkley, a narcotics cop in Orange County, California, becomes an addict when he goes undercover. He is wooing Donna, a dealer, to ferret out her supplier. At the same time, he receives orders to spy on his housemates, one of whom is suspect of being Donna's biggest customer. Number 7. Blow. In the turbulence of the 1970s, the international drug trade underwent a fast, violent, and lucrative revolution, and one ordinary American was at its center. But in a few short years, George Jung, a high school football star, single-handedly became the world's premier importer of cocaine from Colombia's Medellin cartel, changing the course of the entire generation. Blow is a high-velocity look at George Jung's spectacular rise and fall. Number 6. The Panic in Needle Park. Bobby is a heroin addict who lives in Needle Park, the nickname for an area on the Upper West Side of Manhattan where junkies congregate. He meets Helen, a lonely homeless girl, and they fall in love. However, Bobby also introduced Helen to heroin, and she eventually becomes an addict. As Bobby and Helen become more and more dependent on each other and on heroin, their need for money to feed their habit grows, resulting in crime, desperation, and betrayal. Well, before we get into the top 5, since you have made it this far, you might as well hit that like button, and if you want to see more similar videos, go hit that subscribe button. With that being said, I also do MMA/boxing content, weed education, and strain reviews, so if any of that sounds of interest to you, go hit that subscribe button. With that being said, let's get right into it. Number 5. The Wolf of Wall Street. In 1987, Jordan Belfort takes an entry-level job at a Wall Street brokerage firm. By the early 1990s, while still in his 20s, Belfort founds his own firm, Stratton Oakmont. Together with his trusted lieutenant and a merry band of brokers, Belfort makes a huge fortune by defrauding wealthy investors out of millions. However, while Belfort and his cronies partake in a hedonistic brew of sex, drugs, and thrills, the SEC and the FBI close in on his empire of excess. Number 4. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Raoul Duke and his attorney Dr. Gonzo drive a red convertible across the Mojave Desert to Las Vegas with a suitcase full of drugs to cover a motorcycle race. As their consumption of drugs increases at an alarming rate, the Stone duo trash their hotel room and fear legal repercussions. Duke begins to drive back to LA, but after an odd run-in with a cop, he returns to Sin City and continues his wild drug binge. Number 3. Trainspotting. Heroin addict Mark Drayton stumbles through bad ideas and sobriety attempts with his unreliable friends, Sick Boy, Begbie, Spud, and Tommy. He also has an underage girlfriend, Diana, along for the ride. After cleaning up and moving from Edinburgh to London, Mark finds he cannot escape the life he left behind when Begbie shows up to his front door on the lam, and scheming Sick Boy follows. Number 2. Requiem for a Dream. Imaginatively evoking the inner landscape of a human being's longing to connect, to love, and to feel loved. The film is a parable of happiness gloriously found and tragically lost. Requiem for a Dream tells parallel stories that are linked by the relationship between the lonely, widowed Sarah Goldfarb and her sweet but aimless son, Harry. The plump Sarah, galvanized by the prospect of appearing on a TV game show, has started a dangerous diet regimen to beautify herself for a national audience. Number 1. Limitless. Facing unemployment and his girlfriend's rejection, Eddie Morrow is sure that he has no future. All that changes when an old friend gives him a drug that produces enhanced mental acuity. Stoked on the untested chemical, Eddie rises to the top of the financial world and attracts the attention of a tycoon who intends to use him to make a fortune. But terrible side effects and dwindling supply threaten to collapse Eddie's house of cards.